I am super excited as well. You guys can actually see what's happening behind this, but I've got all the lights. This feels like me just chilling with my seat, on the red carpet of the Grammys. About to speak to the press.
That's why you're giving us yellow vibes.
Before, if I don't blind you, who will blind you? Someone says you're looking good. Thank you. This is the first time I'm actually wearing a color this bright in my entire life.
Oh.
Yes. And Frida, you have one of your most striking photos is actually a profile picture with a yellow dress.
Yes.
Maybe this was what got into my head, and
Adio.
Yes. So how's everybody doing today?
Someone said, please blind us. Okay.
Frida, I'm so much in a fantastic vibe there that, when I was getting ready for this, a song just kept playing in my head, and I'm gonna play it. See, everybody, we're gonna start this thing on a good vibe.
Hey, I'm ready. Hey, give me.
Hey. Can you hear it?
Is this a South African song?
Before. Hey, Ginger today. Hey. The future of events in Africa. We shut it down. Anyhow.
Oh my goodness.
Wait. There's a part I want everybody to feel before jumping into the session. Ready? Let's go. Want to go? If you are not dancing where you are, you did not come for this thing. If you are not dancing where you are,
oh my goodness.
Look, if you are not dancing where you are, I don't know.
Like you're giving us the real vibe this night too. Like you're giving us the real vibe. Say.
All right.
I can feel you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, good. So, Frida, do I just kickstart, or you have something to do before I kickstart?
We already introduced you to everybody, and
I missed that part. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've been answering questions. We've been playing a game.
Yes.
And then we've been answering questions. So I've been, asking them questions, and surprisingly, they've been getting it. So I asked who the founder of my passion, my life, is, and everybody's like, Onye Ubanatu. I'm like, what you guys can be doing? You're not the one again.
It's me. I thought it was Mati. I thought it was like Cherry.
I was even thinking it was Gabriella. Oh my goodness. It's not you. Oh my God.
Good. That's good. Thank you, Frida.
Okay, so we can actually kick off.
Yeah, so let's kick start. But first, I want to say a big thank you to you, Frida, for taking your time, galvanizing your expertise, your experience, to make this happen. And, in such a time that young people all over the country seem to have this awakening as to how best we can harness opportunities in Nigeria, with just basically looking inwards and just making the best of what we have. You have decided in such a time like this to do this event. So thank you, Frida. On behalf of everybody that is joined tonight, please drop in the comments, say we love you, Frida. Thank you for making this possible. If not you now, I will not get this kind of small shine, I won't get so thank you.
Look at who's talking.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you. And also to everyone who's watching me right now and who's listening, this is from my heart. Thank you. You could have been anywhere else in this very moment, but you chose to be here to listen, not because we have the answers, but because you two bring so much value that your value, our own ideas and experience joining together will make, the event economy and the
True.
country, your own local environment a better place. So thank you. You are as important as each and every one of the speakers. So just a second ago, you actually said thank you to Frida. Now, everybody, I need you to do this. I need you to just comment, right? Say thank you to yourself. Don't just say thank you to yourself. Just put your name. Like me, I'm just gonna say, I love you, Onye Ubanatu, for doing this, for being
Frida.
here. So put your name
Frida.
and say thank you to yourself for being here.
Yes, thank you, Abimbola of Zarabi.
Somebody's smart. Somebody put her business name in it as well. So
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Oh my God,
I love you guys. Oh, I love you, everybody. I love you. You guys are making this a reality for me.
Princess Jubril, look at that. Oh my good. Frida, man. This is like the hottest Zoom since the pandemic. Look at the comment section just going. Wow. Almost. I'm taking in all this energy. All right. Now let's do this. All right, great. So tonight I'm just going to share with you for just a couple of minutes, less than an hour now, because we've used up about 15 minutes, and I'll try to keep to the timing that has been given. Now, basically, I'm sure you all know what I'll be speaking on this evening, and it's called the use of storytelling in the business of events. The use of storytelling in event business or the business of events. Now, the use of storytelling. I know this is very exciting for a lot of people, like, the use of storytelling. Storytelling is an essential part of both business and also is an essential part. When I say business, I mean from the area of marketing, and also it's an essential part of you documenting your process, right? Now, if you knew about what my topic is all about, and then you joined because you thought I was going to talk about how you can make story, sorry to disappoint you. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm going to be talking about is how you can understand the principles and the importance of storytelling for business, how you can increase your legacy as an event person, how you can increase your brand value as an event business owner or entirely as a business. So these are some of the things that I will be sharing with you. Frida did my introduction, and I'm sure she talked about the fact that I work as a content producer and also an event producer. I started out as a content producer and then galvanized all the experience in the last, how many decades? 2+. And then we created an event arm, not because, not just because we hustle is part of it, but at a point I realized that there were areas, in business of events that I thought, wait a minute, if I actually set up shop to do just strategic events, then that'll probably be good. And then I started joke, to this point where we've done not just local events, we've also done international events. We've, just 2 years ago, we hosted the FIFA president. We've also just done cross-border events as well across the continent of Africa. So, the value that I bring into how I have been able to increase that. Now, mind you, my event business is about 7 years now. I'll say 6 years, right? But you see, the pace at which we have risen so fast in terms of clientele and the kind of events that we do comes from, a major part of it comes from what I'm going to be speaking, on today. All right, great. So under that, I'm going to start with this. It is entirely your responsibility to tell your event journey from a place of strength and a place of beauty. It is entirely your responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the client. It is not the responsibility of your vendors. It is not the responsibility of your partners. See that a critical part of your growth rests on how well you take that thing to your chest. Say, look, if I don't talk my own story, if I don't tell my own event business journey, nobody will do that for me. And like we all know, no event company can survive on its own. It's a fact. All over the world, no event company can survive on its own. You have event companies working with vendors from different aspects of the event business. So if you're a wedding planner, you know, you cannot do without your florist. You cannot do without your caterers. You cannot do without the cake makers. You cannot do without the bouquet sellers. You cannot do without the people who's called the wedding gown, the shoes. You know, you can't do. Frida, what are all those lists you have? So I've listed like 5, 6 guys. If you're here, just list out all of those vendors that we have.
Show producers.
The
Photographers.
stage managers, the photographers,
Yes.
the videographers. You can type them. You can type them. All these people that we hostesses, ushers, your MCs. Now you can see the list is going all the way to about 20 special effects. You know, thank you, Catherine. Catherine is here. Wow, you have some very giant event business owners here. I just saw Catherine. That's really good. You know, someone says branders. I want to believe you mean people who handle branding. Yes, there's playmaker. There's great guys here. You have printers. Now, the list, medicals, the list goes on and on. Now, stop for a moment, guys. Stop for a moment. Listen to this. Imagine you organizing one event, and then you are managing this entire lineup of people who also come with their own extra baggage, extra people, extra peculiar challenges, solutions, and things. And then you have to manage your clients. If you're smart, you would know that in doing this, you can really get, you know, into all kinds of pressure that you just tend to focus on, you know what, let's just get that day going. Let's just get that day going. That day. All everybody's attention, you know, yourself and your team is just that day. But guess what? The magic of every successful event doesn't happen on the day of the event. I can feel the room going quiet, like, what? Wait a minute. We put in all this work, you know, for that day of the event, and then you're telling me that the most important day is not that day. So why were we killing ourselves? Why was I firing vendors up and down? Why was I fighting my own team? You know, why was I, you know, I'll tell you the truth. The magic doesn't happen on that day of the event. Someone said, I felt the coldness too. Yes. The magic of every successful event starts from the day you got your official engagement. The magic of every event started from the day you got signed to say you were doing this. That's where the magic starts. So if that's where the magic starts, right? And the true essence of the things that makes that event legacy very solid is between the day your engagement starts and the day of the event. Where do you come in this thing? For those of you who do weddings, you also know that every now and then, right? You know, Frida, and I'm sure everybody can attest to this. Who is the most important person in every wedding? The bride.
It's the bride, I think.
The bride, have you?
Oh, wait, maybe is it the caterer?
No,
Is it the caterer?
It's the bride.
Oh, I thought it was the maker.
Oh, really? No, it's the gate man that opened the gates for the people to come and set up. the most important person by all standards is the bride. The second most important person is the bride's mother. True or false? True. Good. Now, if we then tend to focus our attention on all of this, now, mind you, I'm just using events. Remember that I know there are people here who are into concerts production, corporate events and things like that. We'll get to that, right? But just bear me, I'm just going to use weddings I'll use weddings as a reference point most of the time, so it's okay. All right. Now, the bride seems to be the most important person, followed by her mother, which is totally fine, right? Good. Every other person comes after that, no problem. So we have peace of mind for the event. But guess what? I'm here to say this to you. The most important person is the person planning the event. I'll say that again. The most important person when it comes to event production is the person planning the event. If it's a wedding, it's the wedding planner. If I am telling you this, it's the person planning the event. You know why? The highest form of legacy with every event is passed on to the person who designs and manages in the direction of executing that vision or that legacy or that historic event. And that person is you. And do you remember what I said earlier, that the magic starts on the day you got your engagement up until the day, and sometimes even after. So you see why you, as someone who plans and organizes an event, is the most important person in my book. In another person's book, that might be different. But I'll show you and I'll tell you why. A lot of times, yeah, if you look at weddings or some of these other events, you would realize that some people will get married, right? And then they will never marry again until they will grow old with their spouse. And then, that's it. Now, if that union where they officially come together is considered to be a historic event, ask yourself, as a wedding planner, do you know how many historic events you have executed or you are executing? So that brings me to the next thing that will introduce some of the notes that I have that I'm going to be sharing, and that is this. As someone who organizes an event or executes, these things, weddings and all of that stuff, understand that your legacy as a human being is imprinted on every project you handle. Your legacy is not in the, oh, it was a good event. No, your legacy is in, how did you do it? It is not, oh, that event was, oh my God, it was a fantastic event. Yes, trust me. If you execute an event that is super fantastic today, Frida will execute another event tomorrow that will beat your own. Another person will execute another that will beat Frida's own. And then guess what? A lot of you can attest to the fact that, when we show up for meetings here, the client starts to say, have you seen this one? Frida, that's true, right? You can know because I see your microphone is up. The clients will show you one event and say, have you seen this event? This event, I like the way the decor is at the beginning.
Yeah, true.
This one, I like the way the couple danced in. I want mine to be like, what they're simply saying to you? They're showing you the legacy of another person. But if you ask them, I beg, Madam, Ogamona Novexo, you say you like this one, Abi, but the budget that we have for this, it cannot even afford a hotel, not to talk of somewhere where you say you want a helicopter to drop you and your husband in the center of the venue. Is it what event hall? The event hall that we have can't do that, and stuff. But anyway, what I'm trying to make you see is this. A lot of times, clients show you the legacy of people without knowing how it was achieved. Guys, follow me. I'm taking you on a journey. You would see the importance of storytelling, why you must adopt this thing in your business, right? So if we can attest to the fact that people like to show other people's work as a yardstick to how, you know, successful theirs should be, that is them showing you the legacies of other people without knowing how it's been done. You, as an event producer, planner, whatever you call yourself, should and must cultivate the habit of telling your own story, so that from time to time, people begin to see that the journey to executing these sort of events takes a lot. I thought she would just go and sit down with her team or his team, and then it will just come back and magic will just happen. No. So you see, adopting the principles of storytelling, right, comes with a high marketing value. There's a speaker, I think her name is, I think her name is Cherry, right? You know, now she's also going to be talking about, you know, marketing and all of that, you know, and the bridge between you and what she will be talking about is your content. So now let's dive into this. So like I mentioned earlier, you know, the legacy of every event, your legacy as an organizer is imprinted in the journey to the event that you produce. Now, let's look at the elements that makes up a well-documented event. Remember, see, when I say event, just know that I'm not talking about the day. I'm talking about the journey all the way to the event, knowing that your legacy is imprinted in it. All right, so what are some of the elements? Some of the elements consist of legacy, historical representation, reference, and the fourth one, I mean, the more, but I'm just going to talk on this for time. The fourth one is evidence-based. Number one, legacy. Number two, historical preservation. Number three, reference. And the fourth one, evidence-based. So I'll start with the first one. Sorry, Frida, are you saying something?
So I'd say you should mention, you should like list them out and tell everybody to, you know, like type what you just mentioned, so people can actually follow what.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so, yeah. Thank you.
I got you. I see the interesting thing. Everybody here is so on point, right? So, like Frida said, you know, as I mentioned, these things you can type it. Number one, right? So, if every when it comes to documenting your process or your journey to producing an event, these four things must be found in it. Again, this is where your money is. So, your money is not, you know, on the day of the event. So, number one, legacy. Number two, historical preservation. Number three, reference. And the fourth one, evidence. Now, number three and number four is sort of like similar, but when I get to the breakdown, you see why I kind of like separated them. All right, so we're ready? I can see people typing legacy. Yes. That's from QG. QG says legacy. Nicole Alaka says legacy. Bling Royale. These participants, their names are very super. All right, amazing. From Dorothy, Talk Webology says legacy, historical preservations, reference, fantastic. So everybody's following. Good. Now let's take legacy, for example, right? I did explain a little bit on the legacy part earlier, but I'm just going to touch base with it again, you know, for time. I think I have about 30 minutes more and I need to give you guys time to ask questions. So if you must increase business for yourself, you must understand that, look, your legacy must be well documented. And your legacy is not, again, the day of the event, how the event came out really nice, the sleepless nights you had, the times you had to be away from your family, the hours and days you spent on the road traveling, how you were able to solve complicated issues in the process of, you know, just executing an idea. A lot of these things are where your legacies, you know, hinges on, because a lot of time people forget. And how are you going to tell a client that, look, you know, we literally took a Titanic ship, destroyed it, and, you know, we built something out of that Titanic ship inside that small tiny budget when you give us? How well are you going to tell your kids that? most times when people do their weddings, at the day of the wedding, people just say, oh, wow, this, that, hey, boom, that's it. And then guess what? After a few days, everybody forgets who planned the wedding, who produced the event. After a few weeks, after a few days, after a few months. Now, you are 20-something years old, you're 30-something years old, or you're younger, or whatever age bracket or group that you belong to. Remember, you're going to have kids, you're going to have grandchildren, you're going to have business associates, you're going to have business partners. What are you going to present to these sets of people in another 30, 40 years, 50 years, when we are old and gray? What are you going to present? What is that thing that carries your legacy? Or, as a matter of fact, when we've done our part in these lives, old and gray, and we've exited, what are the portfolios that speaks of the fact that you once existed and you brought this amount of value to an industry? What? It is not your Instagram post, though. So, look, Princess Jubri just said this is something deep to think about. And this is the truth. I do just 3 to 4 events in a year. Once we clock the 4th event, I don't take any more. Now, somebody might say, oh, wow. Yes, the reason is this: we're not cheap. And I recognize how long it takes us to plan and execute an event. I have an event happening on the 4th of next month. It takes us the day in the year that event ends. That same day, we do a review meeting and we start planning for the next one in the next year. So guess what? My legacy and the legacy of the team or everybody that was part of that project is not found on the day of the event, that process. So number one, please document your process, knowing your legacy is in it. So let's go to number 2, historical preservations. A well-documented event does this, in helping you preserve the moments or the lifetime of people. Because a lot of times, event producers, or especially wedding people, they seem to hire their photographers or their videographers as a byproduct, we seem to focus more on the wedding gown, the wedding design, the food, and then maybe somewhere after, when we're getting close, when I remember, okay, who are we going to use for photography? And then we then say, okay, let's hire this photographer, let's hire this videographer and things, right? It is not a bad thing. Absolutely, it is not a bad thing. But again, if you look at where we're coming from, you must understand that the historical preservation of everything that you're going to do will rest inside the deliverables of your photographers or your videographers. So under that number 2, historical preservation, understand that your videographers, your photographers, the people that will document this, is as important as your first paycheck. The moment you get a confirmation, look, as a matter of fact, even before you get any event, let me give you this trick. Before you get any event, start thinking about the people you want to work with. I'm telling you, start thinking about the people you want to work with. So have that. And that's why a lot of times when we do events, Frida, I'm sure this thing must have happened to you, well, maybe not, but it all happened to me. You execute an event and then somewhere the client then comes and says, oh, we're not paying you this money, or we have something that happened. The owners of the venue are asking for some kind of money, and we're saying we're not going to pay that money because it didn't happen, but they're saying it happened. And then they then call you, the event organizer, to say, okay, please, can we look through your videos so we can check? And then boom, you call your photographer, please send me a couple of pictures, XYZ. And the guy sends you a couple of pictures, none of those in there. And you said, no. You said to him, no. Look in that corner, that part, that section, I'm sure you have photos. And the guy says, madam, we don't get. You know why? Don't badmouth the photographer or the videographer. A lot of times, because photographers and videographers are hired, maybe a few weeks to the event, we end up not communicating the most important part to them, which is the vision of the project. Why are you doing this project? Is it because of the paycheck? If it's because of the paycheck, then it's okay. But if you understand that your legacy is imprinted in every event that you handle, then it's important to know that the documentation of that process comes with, you must take it as a high level priority. And then that vision that you have of the process and the event is what you then sell to your videographers and your photographers. So you see how the importance of historical preservation is. And there are couples who, I remember one time I did a wedding, then I was just a videographer, that was many years ago. The husband lost his wife, and then the person he was marrying lost her husband, the one before. And then now you see that kind of wedding. Isn't that wedding very, very spiritual? Like the emotions at that sort of wedding alone, right? Now, this was 10 years ago, I was still in real. Guys, I shot the wedding. By the time I finished, went back, I think I went back to the studio. I was just working as a cameraman or something, blah, blah, blah. Came back to ask the editors, guys, how far? One thing. Guess what they told me? You cannot find it. Yeah. Video disappeared. Like, no. Don't say Nigeria happened. Nigeria is a very blessed country. I will not take it. Nigeria is a very blessed country. Nigeria did not happen. The devil happened. Man, I'm telling you, they could not find the videos. And I had to go to them with my tail in between my legs saying, please. But it was a lot. I even had to bring my mom into it, because my mom is the deaconess, well respected in church, and she knew the people, so she had to speak on my behalf, some pastors in the church, because these couples, they were ready to fry me, roast me. But you see, this taught me serious lessons on the power of that thing called a video or photo. That is the only reference point that they have. So please, wedding planners or event producers and things, do not focus on the things that your bride wants to see, which is the wedding, the decor and stuff. Don't focus on those things only. Focus on the power of proper documentation. Now we're going to move to the third one, reference. Now I touched on reference, a bit. Remember, I said earlier that when most people want to show their works to people, right? You know what they do? They use, or rather, when they want to communicate their ideas or vision, sometimes they don't even get any idea, any vision. They just copy from every other people. They use other people's job as references, right? If your work is not on that top 5, then there's a problem. And that's the truth. You must take it upon yourself to say, look, I need to have proper storytelling, visualization, documentation of my process, of my journey to producing this, so that my work can be used as reference for others. And by the time you come out of this training section that we're having right now, of course, I believe everybody's gonna come out with the knowledge of my legacy. Guess what? What would you rather sell? What would you rather people sell? Your legacy, that thing that makes you stand out from every other person. So it is not just in the finished work, and we're going somewhere with this. Now, the last one, evidence-based. How many of you don't see this kind of way? Somebody call you, say, we hear that the cousin of my niece that is married to my nephew's friend says that she did not eat white semo, that the semo that they brought is black semo, which means you quoted for semo, but you supplied amala. Explain yourself why you should collect your money. What are you going to use as the evidence base to your events? He said, those kind of people from my Princess Jibril is the class monitor today. President Jibril said, those people from my villa. Yes, what village are you from? All right, so understand that it is important that you must document every section of your event, knowing that this is a high level of evidence-based material that you're going to use. Can you see? All right, so remember, I talked about selling your vision to the documentation team, your photographers and your videographers, right? What do I mean by selling your vision? I actually wanted to wait, to put this in the evidence base. What do you sell to them? Ask yourself that question. What vision do you sell to the photographers and the videographers? If you don't have any vision at all, at least, you see that your checklist that you've presented to your client to get your money, from catering, under catering alone, you have about 20 to 30 items, from the pastries section to the heavy food section, to the dessert section, to the buffet, to the private food that they're going to package for the VVIP, to da-da-da-da-da-da. That's one. Under decor, you have, what do you call them? Fresh flowers or live flowers. You have the artificial flowers. You have da-da-da-da-da. You have that one as well, right? Under the decor part, you have, under the what they're going to wear, you have all the lineup of materials under what was sold, what was bought, So if you look at all the different departments, your legacy is embedded in there. Do you know what you went through to negotiate good deals? Do you know what you went through to find these people to make sure you retain and get that much amount of result? So when you are speaking to your documentation team, give them the vision by letting them know every important item on your list to say, Oga photographer, in case when you're done with photographing or videographing everything, just make sure we have all of this item well represented. That might just be the last thing that might save you. Or that might be something that might give you a high level of credence in your next job. And it makes, anytime you're well documented, or every time your process is well documented. Yes, Frida, stop smiling. Your smile is confusing us here. Yes. Every time you have that process well documented, what it does is it builds confidence with your client. It builds a high level of trust. And guess what? Your client will transfer that trust to other people. All right, great. Now, so we're just going to move. So I've explained what you should share, with your videographers, your photographers, your visions, and things. Also, all these things come with surprise elements at your event. So it's very important to make sure you capture that. So I've talked about. So these are notes. This is just side notes. Number one, share your entire vision. Right? These are steps to working with your documentation team. Number one, so that's notes. So you can type this in right now. Number one, share your vision. Share your entire vision. Don't just hire your photographers, give them dates, give them venue, negotiate the cost, and say blah, 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 and then wait for them to show up to do the fancy thing and all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, when client starts to come at you to say, oh, wait, we need XYZ, we need that, we need that. And you're like, photographer, can you check if you have this? Say we don't have it. Yay. Well, man, you go to the client, why did we pay money for this? Blah, blah, blah. All right, so it's very, 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 very important. Share your entire vision. Number two, do a walkthrough with your entire team. Don't just tell them, work with them. So number one, share your entire vision. Number two, do a walkthrough with your documentation team. So after you have designed your venue, right, walk with them, all right? So I have about 7 minutes, and then we're gonna go to question and answer for the next 20 minutes. So do a walkthrough, don't just tell them. And this is where a lot of videographers, they look at you and be like, but you didn't tell me this was happening. I know most of you must have witnessed this, where bride is coming from the sky, groom is coming from the back door. And because bride was the first person to appear from the sky, photographers, videographers, all of them, they run to go and face the bride coming from the sky. Yes. And then the wedding planner will be saying, no, go to the left, see the husband coming from there. And the photographer is wondering, what is she saying? What is she saying? It has happened. All right. Also, understand that the critical elements of your event, when you share your entire vision, you do a walkthrough, you begin to imprint the vision of your project into them so they buy into it and they take it as there. Somebody says, eye opener. Hey, hey, listen, I told you. You think I wore yellow, bright color for nothing? I will open your eye with this bright light and this information. All right. So it's important. Don't just tell them, walk them through. Make sure all the elements that you have designed, including surprise elements, the extra value that you are bringing into it, walk them into it so that way you can. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of bonus. Now, this bonus, and then I'm going to come back to, how well you should document this. Just touch base on that quickly. Here's the bonus. So the bonus is this. What are the right qualities to look out for when choosing the person responsible for the above? That's the team that you want to work with. What are some of the things that you want to look out for, right? So this is what I call the checklist for videographers and photographers. Oh, I know everybody will love this one. Hey, if I tell you the kind of stories some of my colleagues, they say to me about people that they hire to do work for them, hey, Jesus Christ. Sometimes I'm like, yo, where are all these photographers from? All right, so let's look at the first thing. The first thing to look out for when choosing the right person to work with as a photographer or videographer for your event, number one, their body of work. The body of work is simply their show reel, the quality of their work, their portfolio. Now, don't just allow them send you one link of one wedding and you choose based on that. Ask them to send you perhaps 3 to 5, look at that, and then try to study the consistency and the growth in those materials. Number 2, review people's experience with them. Don't just hire photographers or videographers because they're popular. Don't do that. Don't hire photographers or videographers because they have 20,000 followers on Instagram. Anybody can buy that, right? Hire people based on what other people say about them. So if you see anybody that you think that you want to work with, right, just sniff around, ask colleagues, have you worked with this person before? Because the truth is this, the end product isn't just the thing that makes everything worthwhile. The process. Some people are very good with all the cinematics and visuals and crisp photography and blah, blah, but their delivery timeline sucks. You will chase them for years to get your videos or your thing. Some of them are very rude. Some of them don't have great character or good personality. The attitude to work is 0. Some of them are going to tell you how to, so it's important. Don't just base your understanding on what people say about them and then use to make your judgment, all right? And I mean, don't just follow what people say, because sometimes people can say stuff wrongly about people and then, so you need to also find a way to experience that as well before you work with them. So I have 4 minutes left and I'm going to jump in. So the third one is, what is the personality of the person away from their camera or their equipment and things? What is the personality? Are they temperamental? Do they have a good presentation skill? Have you seen videographers and photographers who show up at your wedding looking like they were the megads? No disrespect to megads, but you see people who actually do jobs that requires them to look a certain way, like that. You see people, even some megads these days, they're very neat, clean, and presentable. But you see your photographer, videographers show up and you're like, yo, what is this? Smell, some show up at your wedding wearing torn jeans and t-shirts. It's a wedding, for goodness sake. Where is your jacket? Oh, Jesus. All right, so make sure that their presentation looks really good and also their personality. People who have temperamental issues can be very, very, very. I've seen situations where the photographers and the videographers hired to cover wedding starts to quarrel with the bride. You cannot talk to me like that. They quarrel with you, self, that hired them in front of the client. So understand that the temperament is very important. So please type that to don't just listen, because I know saying now some people don't think deep. Say, yeah, this now where I will form a hand. All right, so we don't make this collective mistake. So number 1, the body of work. Number 2, people's experience of them or with them. the reviews. Number 3, the personality of the person away from the camera. Are they nice? Are they very cooperative? Are they understanding? Are they patient? Are they creative? Don't just choose based on what you see on the work. So the last 2 is depth and maturity. Depth and maturity. I'll tell you why this is very important. Wait, let me drink water. And in case you haven't noticed, this is me on my cup. In case you haven't noticed, can you see this? Can you see? It's me on my cup. I'm not vain. I just understand the branding. Hey, we did not come to this work to play. All right. Now, depth and maturity. Now, so I wrap this up. Depth and maturity is very important because a lot of times your videographers, your photographers, the people documenting these things, they are your eyes and ears. You can't be everywhere. So they represent you in a lot of cases. And sometimes there are things that might happen that they will have to use their discretion to handle while you are away, right? So you want to make sure that the people you hire to represent you or document your legacy, right? Those people, they must have some level of depth and maturity. All right. So again, number 1, body of work, reviews, the personality of camera away from their tools, and then depth and maturity. Some people have loose mouth. Some camera, or production people, or content creators, the videographers. Some people have loose mouth, right? Some are very mature. Some are very good, right? You don't want situations where you've negotiated with your team, and then they're discussing in front of the bride, and say, now, this woman said, who give us the money, blah, blah, blah. Look, and your bride hears that and just sets an off tone. Or something happens during the wedding or while they are upstairs when the bride is getting dressed. And guess what? They come downstairs and they start to discuss what they heard upstairs. So these sort of things are very, very important. Same thing with event producers. Once you get into the field of event producing, you get to understand that you deal with a lot of high-level information. So you want to make sure that you cultivate the habit. If you are in the business of documentation, cultivate the habit of maturity, and depth. The last one is confidentiality management. And of course, that one was reflected in one that I just talked about now. Confidentiality management. Make sure that these people, all right, and in line with this, please do not engage people without some form of contract. Do not. Once you engage them, be sure that the deliverables that you need, it's well stated out on a piece of paper, have them signed. Don't just engage with pay, you go, you say show up on that day or the day before, 2 days before, or whatever. No. All right, what is the importance of this? Why do we need to do this? All right, when you do this, it protects you. And again, it preserves your own legacy with how well you do this stuff. All right, so another bonus that comes is this. Protect with the contract. I just talked about that now. All right. Dear event producers, there is something called rights of usage. Make sure it is clear that you have the right to use the materials. If that is entered with the photographers, if you're paying for the rights to use them, because you're engaging, you do have the right to actually use these materials. But you see a lot of times where you use materials, or your photography team or videographers, they use materials, and then you get angry. Oh, why are they putting these materials there? Why are they using these materials for this and that? And then you two starts to fight over stuff, or the clients as well begins to use certain materials, and you're like, oh, well, madam, and they're like, oh, no, it's our wedding. What do you mean? Or, you sign a contract that says, if you're going to use these materials, at least give credit to the planners or the organizers or the producers and stuff. It is there in your contract, right? And please also have contracts with your clients as well, not just the people you're engaging, so that tomorrow when somebody crops title out of materials, you can. When somebody puts material and puts another person's name under it because their nephew was the one that helped decorate the entrance, they then give them the credit. So things will help you protect yourself, by by doing this. All right. Now, I'm going to end with this, and then we're going to go to question and answers. Some people find it very difficult to either appear in front of a camera or, you know, just spend time documenting their process. You see, it must not be you. All right. A lot of times you can give this to your team members, and also you can spend time on YouTube watching videos on how well you can document these things. And please do not be afraid don't be shy. Don't be afraid, you know, to appear in front of camera. Let the purpose, you know, supersede the consciousness of self. And again, we've talked about the purpose from the beginning. Number one, your legacy is embedded in that. You know, in our old and gray days, where all we have is just stories, we'll now be saying, Frida, did you remember that event that I was the one that opened, where one of the participants now said that Nigeria happened? Nigeria is a good country. I will laugh, because all we will have in that time of our lives are the stories. What is the best reference point to preserving our legacy? It's in the way we document these things. So if you're the shy type, if you're the very reserved type, it's okay. But here's my advice. Let the purpose supersede, you know, your consciousness of self. Because when that time comes, you feel bad. You're like, oh, do you know we were the one that did the biggest event in that year, but we didn't document it properly. So it's important. All right, guys. So I think I'm done with this. I literally just tried to just summarize it into like quick notes. So like I normally do, let's just do a quick rundown, and then we're gonna jump in questions. I don't jump 5 minutes into so I have 15 minutes left for question and answers. So remember, so telling your event from a place of beauty and strength, that is a fantastic way of, you know, locking your legacy, fantastic way of increasing respect for you. And it's also a way of gaining trust from your clients, from prospective business people, also knowing how to manage the team that will help you document this thing. You see how I use sense? Just squeeze everything into this 1 hour. This thing, this is like a full training syllabus, but you know, I also squeeze it into 1 hour. Of course, now Frida be off my mic now. Okay, you take it all the time. All right, great. So remember, the first one is this. What are the elements? So the elements, you know, what you should find in these things is, number one, your legacy. Number two, historical preservations, reference, and evidence-based. And then we moved on to talk about the team documents these things for you. Don't just hire them for the day of the event. You should hire them for critical moments of the planning process. Don't see them as a byproduct, see them as a critical part. And when you meet them, sell your vision to them. So, you know, I give you guys notes, share your entire vision, do a walkthrough with your documentation team. And then of course, we talked about how to connect, checklists for the kind of people you should work with. So number one, we talked about looking at their body of work, you know, the quality of the work and the consistency and growth. Number two, the reviews people's experience. Don't just hire because they're popular on Instagram or they have a lot of followers on social media. No. You know, do your findings beyond, you know, the gram or social or digital reviews and things. Personality away from their cameras and things is very, 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 very important. You know, people can be very temperamental. Their presentation skill, how they look, how they dress, how they present themselves is also very important. Make sure they fit into your brand. The third one for people who's just joining, I can see a lot of people just joining as well. The depth and maturity. A lot of people have loose mouth. You don't want to discuss something very critical to your guy. Your guy tells the assistant starts to discuss with the other photographers that are at the venue in front of the bride, and the bride is going, see my secret for outside. Oh, these people don't kill me. No, you don't want to do that. So make sure these people are very mature and they have some level of depth. They're very creative, and then they can take decisions on your behalf. And then, of course, the last one is confidentiality management. Have some kind of contract. Don't just go AY and just hire them and just, so have some contract guiding, you know, the use of work and how well your client can use it, they can use it, how well, most importantly, you can't use it. Protect yourself. Work with a contract is very important. At least have shared right usage. And all right, so some of you might be dreaming of working with the best. It is very possible. Start building relationship right now. I mean, they're professionals. Some of you look at it and say, I know, get this person on you. No. Start building relationship. Relationship opens door to a lot of opportunities. And having said that, I look forward to working with you guys, and I look forward to collaborating with some of you here. And very soon, like I always say, a lot of you are going to become billionaires from this business. And when that time comes, please don't forget people like Frida, myself, so that when you're flying on your private jet, you know, you now not see us in the airport and walk past us. Just not say, we join the people who will give value. When that day come, we will remove the information from your head. All right, so great. So now I have about, less than 15 minutes, and I'll just allow Frida to take over from here, and we'll jump into question and answer. So Frida, whatever questions comes, please just read it out, and then I'll take it off from there. All right, great. Over to you, Frida.
Yeah. I knew this yellow vibe was not something for a joke. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say. I mean, like,
why
wow.
are you saying wow?
Oh, the music is not loud.
The music is not loud. Oh,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm seeing the comments, and a lot of persons are saying, thank you, Mr. Onye Ubanatu. The lecture was enjoyable. What? Sorry, what? I must say, okay, sorry, my eyes, I'm not with my glasses. I must say I enjoyed this lecture so much. Great delivery. Thanks for sharing. Someone said you have done well. Well done, sir. Okay, great. Everybody's just commenting. So guys, I believe you would have questions. Oh, Gabriella is here. She said, well done, Onye. Hi, Gabby.
Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you, everybody.
This is awesome. Yay. So if you have questions that you want, oh, wow, 25 new messages. Jesus Christ. Okay, someone from Anambra State said they love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, Mr. Onye. Very impactful. I had value. Good. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Onye. Amazing as usual. That's from Catherine.
Oh, thank you, Catherine.
Okay. We say a big thank you from QG Agency. Someone said, scintillating session with you, sir. God bless you, Mr. Onye. It was straight to the point. That's from Princess Jibril. Adese has...
Princess Jibril, the class monitor.
Yeah, our captain. As always said, you are a great man. God bless you, sir. Good. Cherry, Oha. Well done, Mr. Onye. Thanks. Mr. Onye, are you sure they will not come and capture you and carry you away? Please.
Hey, come. Do we have questions?
I want questions. We want questions so we could, I know you guys should have questions. Come on. You didn't learn all these not to ask questions. There's something you might be doing wrong. This is a safe zone. Just bring in all the questions. If you've been making mistakes in an aspect of your business and you want clarity, don't be shy. Don't say, hey, someone's going to judge me. That person, trust me, that person will want to judge you, so he himself need them. So you got to let yourself loose and bring out all the questions that you have. Trust me. I'm coming to capture. I don't know what that means, but yeah, always giving the best. Thank you for all you do. Such an amazing session, sir. This was real value. Okay.
Thank you.
Can you give a clear difference between event planner and event producer? How can we follow him on social handles, please? Okay, so I'm gonna type his social media page. Is on Instagram as Onye Ubanatu 1. Onye Ubanatu 1. So I posted it. So Onye, someone said you should differentiate the an event planner and an event producer.
All right. So they both have similarities depending on what sort of events that you're doing. As you can see, NEPA don't see lights, but you see, I planned them. We see in Nigeria, you gotta have sense. I planned this. See, I get 2 heavy lights. I get my own NEPA transformer here to work. All right, great. Zeno Palmer just joined in. Zeno Palmer is one of the, I think, the biggest, when it comes to event technology in the entire region. Benin, so Zeno Palmer is a great guy.
He's our boss.
Right, good stuff. See, funny enough, I like this light more than when the light over bright. I feel myself, but I feel myself. All right, let's go. Focus, young man. All right, great. So event planner, event planner, event producer, however you call it, the two of them, they do the same thing. However, because wedding is sort of like the business of wedding is very consistent, right? So if you look at that wedding planner, kind of goes, well. The job of a planner as well, simply to structure an event and just coordinating, moving, coordinating, getting parts of the event in sync with the vision of what your client wants to right. So that is it. If you look at event producers as well, they do the same thing. They coordinate in a lot of times design, execute, right? And then they also manage the process. Now, you then have planners for different areas of your event. So if I'm doing wedding, they'll call me a wedding planner because I take the vision from the client and then I say, okay, this is what the client wants to see, wants to experience, wants to feel. And what I simply do is then bring all my experience into interpreting that and then execute. In the process of executing, I manage the process as well. In areas, I also hire people who can help me make this different process as well. So they kind of like have same similarities and just push things in the same. So depending on the type of event, the name then becomes, what is in there. Somebody's microphone is on. All right, great. So did I answer that?
Is there any other question? Okay, so yes, there's one question here for you. On confidentiality, do we have to give out contracts to all vendors we work with or only photographers? Come back to reality, Onye.
I beg. See, make a come cap for this question. Hey, Jesus. Make a clean sweat for my head for this question.
Onye, what is wrong with you?
See, have you ever done events? By the time you finish with the event, you begin here, you did not tell me so, I told you so. That wasn't what you wanted. You said you wanted 5, not 10. As a matter of fact, I even went out of my way, to give you the extra 10, and it's 5 that you said you wanted. Have you ever heard this type of thing before? Have you ever heard, no, yes, no, I didn't say that, you said that. So understand that contract. Now, again, let me calm down. Be coming down like this, be coming down like this. Listen, guys. When we do these things with people, understand that business is business. It's nothing personal. There is no sentiment. Whether you are hiring your nephew, your cousin, your auntie, your uncle, the moment it comes into your line of business, it is no longer anything personal or sentimental. Contract is not a demon. Contract is not a bad thing. Contract is not something that says you don't trust me, typical Nigeria way. No, that's not what contract is about. Contract is simply a document that says, I requested, you understood, therefore you show it back to me by appending your signature to say, I not only hear what you talk, but I understand, and yes, I will give it to you. That's what the document is. So don't see contract as a bad thing, and don't even allow anybody bully you into feeling that you giving them contract means that, you just said I should just supply you just 2 plates of rice. Why am I signing a paper? It is not quarrel, it's nothing personal. It's just simply saying that. Now you see, a contract must be given to everybody you are working with, including the client. So once you finish your checklist and you make your presentation to the client and the client sees it and loves it, good. Bring out that document that says, I have seen this, this is what I want, this is the amount I'm going to pay, this is when I'm going to pay it, and if you fall short, we are going to remove this, or, you know, all that stuff. Have your lawyers and stuff can help you. As a matter of fact, this is a preview conversation. I was having a meeting with Frida the other day, and we're talking about the future of business, and she talked about a project that she's creating to help people take away the burden of dealing with business, budgeting, legal. So don't say, guys, you heard it from me first. She's going to come and tell you, but you heard it from me first. So if you're finding it very difficult to deal with these things, please go to the right people with experience, because without proper documentation, you are going to be screwed big time. You will do a fantastic event, and then one mistake from a vendor can just set you back, and then the client will begin to have doubt. The client will begin to not trust you anymore, and you will not be there to defend yourself that it was the vendor that showed up late. Do you understand what I mean? So please, please, let me wear my cap back. Before some people are just joining this room, but they'll say, am I in the wrong class? They'll now leave, not knowing that I just removed my cap. So to answer your question, have a legal signed document with every vendor that you work with is very important. It gives you peace of mind. Yes. Nobody will say, Shebi, you talk, see. Shebi, you talk, see. All right. Is there any more questions? I hope I've answered your question.
Ooh, wow. Guys, oh yeah, drop your comments, drop feedback, blow this comment section now. Feedback, everybody, feedback. Please.
Gas me up.
Shoot him with nice comments. He's your lucky toll gate. Oh yeah.
No way. All right, so while your comment is coming in, Frida, the next session is going to come right after this, right?
Yes. Okay, so someone is asking you, Onye, what about impromptu events?
Yes, impromptu events.
What do you sign contracts on impromptu events also? Contracts.
All right.
In terms of,
okay. Yeah. Yes, I see that also happens. But please understand that there's no such thing as impromptu events, because your money will also come impromptu. So let your small contract come impromptu too. Contract does not take forever to sign. As little as signed, just type in an email, send it to the client, and then just have them answer questions in it. Is good as something that you can use to show. Also, if you have like chats with clients or voice calls and stuff, voice call can be very intrusive, right? But what I'm trying to say is this: make sure you have documentations of the things agreed upon. So if you have a client who jumps in and say, no, please, can you? And they say, please send your account, we're sending the money to you now. The moment you get off that phone, right? Just take everything you guys have talked about, go to your mail, type it, boom, full stop, send. And just say, and then you put your account number down there and just say, yo, I sent you a mail, the account number is there, or I just sent you a WhatsApp message and then the account number is there. Please read through the list of things in there, and then you find the account number at the bottom. So and then let it be known that by proceeding to make this deposit, you agree to every item I have listed, that this is what we have talked about. Good. So that says, so when they send you, say yes, please screen grab that chart and save it. Save it. Screen grab it and save it. When I say save it, don't save it on your phone. If possible, print it out somewhere and store it, or send it to yourself in your email, right? It's very, very, very important. So there's no such thing as impromptu, because your money will vanish in the entire account. You'll send the account number, they'll pay you now. So the trick that I use is I type the sort of agreement, and then I put the account number at the bottom, and I say that by proceeding to make this deposit, you agree to the items above that we have agreed upon, and that's it, right?
Awesome. Okay, someone said this
is one of
is
the most amazing classes.
I'm so happy to be the convener.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Julia. Thank you.
Thank you, Onye. Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you. We're really grateful. Someone is saying, Abimbola is saying, I remember sending a client a contract and they had to review thrice before signing. They had no idea COVID-19 schooled us. Great.
That's very important.
Wow, this is
Thank you. I just saw a message from a maker. That's a playmaker guy. He's a fantastic tutor. He runs this teaching series as well on Instagram, and he's into branding. He's a great guy. He's one of the people that I celebrate with everything. And I know somebody that you like to work with, Frida, as well. You know. All right. So is this my session? Because I'm eager to join the next session so I can listen, to the next speaker, and stuff. So is this where I hit the leave button?